Mayor Eric Adams advocating for resources in the state budget, finalizing the city's budget, and then dealing with a growing rat problem. And the mayor is joining me now to talk about it all. And Mr. Mayor is joining me now in studio. Good to have you for your first appearance in our new studio.
Love it, love it, love it. It's always good to be the first.
Yes, it is, Mr. Mayor. Let's get right into it. And a big story that we're following right now, of course, is what's happening in Lower Manhattan, the grand jury, and the potential charges against the former president. So first and foremost, let me ask you this. Do you agree that the DA should have moved forward with charges? And is the city ready if there is an indictment for protests?
We are always ready. The NYPD does an amazing job of just really dealing with any type of incident that takes place in the city. And, you know, there's a lot of speculation. I think DA Bragg is going to make the final determination. We have not heard yay or nay. We're just going to be ready no matter what happens.
And I do want to talk to you right now about what's going on in the state budget, because all eyes are what's happening in the budget, right? I know you're paying close attention to it as well. Some big issues in the hands of lawmakers in Albany that will really impact New York City first and foremost. So let me begin first with the talk about asylum seekers, right? Because there's been a lot of talk about splitting the money, a third with the city, a third with the state, and a third with the federal government. Are you seeing all of that even divide in terms of money?
Well, first, I cannot tell you what a great partner the governor has been through so many different crises. But the third scenario is just not a winnable one. First of all, we're not getting a third from a Republican-controlled Congress. It's not happening. So that third turns into two-thirds. And we must really give New York the relief that they deserve. 52,000 asylum seekers that added on to the 35,000 of those who are already here in our care. It's just not right that New Yorkers are carrying the burden of all of this.
But are you getting that third from the state?
Yes, we hope so. We're going to know once the budget is passed. We're going to advocate for more. We need more. We already spent $650 million, potentially spending over $4 billion in the next fiscal year. So
if you don't get that money from the federal government, right, because of what you're talking about here, what does that do in terms of city cuts? Because I want to just focus in on the fact that there are cuts across the board. I've listened to you very carefully talk about this issue, and some people are talking about specific agencies, right? For example, libraries. If you cut service there, does that mean weekend service is cut?
Well, it's up to the libraries, and really, we're not doing cuts. Let's be clear. We're finding efficiencies, and I stated this on the campaign trail. I was very clear that we're going to do something called PEG, Program to Eliminate the Gaps. We're going to go into the agencies and find efficiencies. We're asking everyday New Yorkers to find efficiencies in running their homes because of inflation, because of the cost of living in the city. Shouldn't we do the same? And I say yes to that. Our goal is to let the agencies determine how they're going to find these efficiencies in the right manner that won't reduce service and won't lay off individuals.
Is that possible?
Yes, it is. We're seeing it. We did it twice. We did 2 rounds of program to eliminate the gaps, and we're still providing the services to New Yorkers. These are difficult times. We're going to be clear. Now, think about it. Every agency is saying, no, not me.
Right.
You know, we all feel, no, not me.
Right.
But we're in this together. That's why we have a We Love New York campaign, because we all love the city.
I'll get back to that campaign in a second. I want to talk to you right now about the other big issue right now, and that's the MTA, right? Because I had the governor on this show, and I did ask her about the fact that she did ask you for $500 million to help fund the MTA. You said you couldn't afford it, and then she said, her response to me was, well, this is what budget negotiations are for. Are you giving that $500 million?
No, and she's right. It's about here in Albany, because I've been there. It's about how do we sit down and look at the proposed budget from the governor and the One House bills from the Senate and the Assembly. New York is already paying over $2 billion to the MTA. So to state to New Yorkers that we're going to have you pay an additional $500 million every year, no other municipality is being asked this. That is just not right. And I want to take my hat off to Speaker Andrea Stewart-Cousins and Carl Hasty, Assembly Leader. They looked at it. Their members, our delegation said, wait a minute, we can't do this to New York. And now they're negotiating.
So no money from the city?
Well, we don't know yet until the budget is passed. It's never, in Albany, it's never final until it's final.
Right, and you would know well because you're up there for quite some time. Will you be making another visit to Albany Albany to put your case forward?
Yes, Monday. Monday I will be walking the halls of Albany, meeting with the caucuses there on both sides of the aisle to put our case forward for New York City.
And part of that budget was really changes to bail reform, and it was in the governor's proposal, but not in the one House budget. I don't know if you were able to take a look at that. And Governor Hochul referenced a report from John Jay College, which found that bail reform is working for lower level offenses, but not as much for violent felonies. I've talked to you about this before, but do you want to see bail reform changes in the next budget?
And I keep trying to educate. It's not about bail. It's about the criminal justice system.
But it's a factor.
No, well, that's not really. When you say it's a factor, we're looking at just this decision of the judges, and it's about the least restrictive measure of it that we need to correct. But in addition to that, we need to pay the DAs and get them the money to hire more lawyers, the defense attorneys. This is the entire picture, and I don't want to set up New Yorkers to have an expectation that's not real. We need a comprehensive approach to reform. Now, there are 2,000 people who are repeated violent offenders. Those are our focus. If we address them, you will see substantial decreases in crime.
So just to be clear, are you okay if there is no changes to bail in the budget?
No, I'm okay if we do a comprehensive change in how we're paying our DAs. How do we deal with discovery? How do we deal with those 2,000 individuals that are recidivists? That is my focus. Those, as they stated, as the governor even stated, you have a large number of people who commit nonviolent crimes that are working well with the way the bail is.
And since we're talking about the topic of crime, I want to focus on the NYPD and spending there, because you and Speaker Adrienne Adams seem to be on different pages when it comes to NYPD spending. She pointed to NYPD overtime, saying there needs to be a closer look at the overtime spending. What do you think when you look at the totality of overtime? Are you comfortable with the amount that's being spent?
I'm never comfortable with the amount that's being spent in overtime. And I think what the speaker stated, who I believe is a great partner, we've done some great things together last year, she says there needs to be a closer look. Yes, Speaker, there should be, because a large amount of the overtime she's talking about came from the governor. We had a problem in our subway system. We put in place a subway safety plan. We're seeing a customer satisfactory subway survey going up. We see crime decreasing. I've been on the show with you often when we talked about subway safety. And so the governor stepped in. So when you take away the money we get from the federal government as grants for overtime, you take away what Albany paid for, this did not come out of New York City taxpayers' pockets, but we did something else. We looked at all the parades and festivities. We decreased the amount of overtime that officers are providing on those different services. So we are moving in the right direction, and we're doing the right thing.
And briefly, because while we're talking about this, I want to get you on what's happening outside of schools. A lot of crime on the increase outside of schools. Do you think more police around schools, school safety agents is the answer?
Well, let's be clear on one thing. We have not had one shooting inside a school building or on school grounds. Some of it has spilled off from arguments from the school. That's why when others were talking about removing school safety officers out of school on the campaign trail, I said not under this administration, because I knew the importance of being there, and I believe police have a direct connection with safety in schools. We are now having our principals and precinct commanders talk weekly to talk about the safety of our schools.
Yeah, and a lot of conversation right now also around TikTok, whether or not there should be an all-out ban of TikTok here in the country. Where do you stand on the issue of TikTok?
Sign me up. You know, it is degrading to the American people that TikTok has a version in America that is not being played in China, and we need to sit down and have a conversation about that. There's a challenge on TikTok of stealing IKEA cars. We're seeing a spike in this, and we need to be clear. TikTok must be responsible. I'm looking forward to sitting down and speaking with them about that.
Okay, rapid fire here because we got a minute left. Big topic last week was you announced a rat czar being a female. I got to pry the name out of you. Let's make some news right here. First appearance, who is it?
Listen, we're going to be rolling it out. I'm excited. I only have one criteria for
I know, they hate rats. Is it a name that people will recognize?
Only if they are around people that hate rats.
Not going to give me the name today, right?
We'll get it to you, trust me.
Okay, I want to make some news here. Back to the We Love New York City campaign. All right. A lot of people had issue with the logo. You seemed pretty fired up about this last week, about people taking issue with the logo. What's with the logo?
Well, first of all, a lot of people didn't have issues with the logo.
Who made issue with it?
You know, when you go and look on Twitter and see everyone that has something negative and all of a sudden make it seem like New York is hated. Look, let's be clear. The iconic I Love New York logo is in place.
Yeah.
But I didn't get through COVID. We got through COVID. I didn't bring down crime. We got through crime. And so we're saying let's build on that logo and say we love. That's what's great about this city. We love this city. And I thought it was brilliant. And those who want to highlight the numerical minority that sits in the corner of their home somewhere in their pajamas saying, let me criticize everything. That is not the spirit of New York.
Let me ask you this. Is that the final logo, or will there be a redesign, maybe using a New York
Well,
artist?
maybe. Let's never become so stagnant that we're afraid to evolve.
Yeah.
We may do another logo one day in the future that says the Globe loved New York.
Right.
It's a special place.
Of course.
And we love this place.
That's why we're here. Mr. Mayor, great to have you here as the first in-person guest on Picks and Politics in our new studio.